Am I the a-hole for not accepting my sister's apology? This is part 2, guys. You can find part 1 in the description below, and let me just tell you right now, you were not prepared for this update. I wanted nothing to do with my sister and anybody else who supported her after the way she treated Kylie. Kylie has always maintained good relations with my sister, due to respect for me. She has kept quiet about the shadiness way in which my sister was acting in the past, but now it was time for me to stand up for her. I did not want to cause more drama, so I sent my sister a message telling her that I was not responsible for her feeling sad on her wedding day. Had she been respectful towards Kylie, then she would not be feeling like that. I wished her the best of luck and then I blocked her. I don't know exactly what happened at the wedding. I did not know until my sister's best friend Jenna told me that my sister was miserable and she wanted to talk to me. Firstly, the last person I would listen to is Jenna. But then Jenna told me that the wedding was less than perfect. The guests were gossiping about how I, as her brother, refused to attend. More people talked about by the time she had her reception, a lot of family members had already left. Her wedding speeches were filled with absence of people. They were just refusing to speak at her wedding because they believed her to be prejudiced. She went on her honeymoon and came back to find out that her friends did not want to talk to her. Afterward, she ended up going through a stage of depression because no one wanted to be friends with her or even associate with her. She was lucky enough that her in-laws were supportive. But Jenna told me that even though they claim to be happily married, there's trouble brewing in paradise. Jenna further revealed that although we have always seen the good side of Ralph, he might not be as good to my sister as he wants us to believe. No brother wants to hear that, and that got me to thinking. I had never had any bad blood with him, except for the one comment, well, he made about Kylie. But I thought it was because he was just drunk, so I told Jenna that I was not going to speak to her ever again. 2 months went by. I was not speaking to anybody in my family, including my parents, and I did not know what their views were, but I knew they were upset with me, because I left my sister alone on her wedding day. After those 2 months, I had a meeting with a client who had reached out to me with a very lucrative offer. I had pulled up all the stops when creating the proposal, even booking a table in one of those 5-star restaurants in the city you hear about. If I got that client, then my career would improve, and I would be a lot closer to getting that promotion I oh so wanted. I went there with high hopes, and then everything kind of fell through. When I saw who was sitting at the table with my client, it was my sister. After greeting the client and politely excusing myself from her, I talked to her, asking her why she would hijack my meeting. If she was resorting to stalking me, then I could have went and got a restraining order against her if I wanted. She had obviously forgotten that I did not consider her as family anymore, so if I was her, I would not attempt such a stunt. She said that she had been sending me messages and calling me, but none of those were coming through. I reminded her of what she did to me and asked her why I should speak to her. I asked if she organized a fake client. She said that he was a family friend and she had asked him for his favor. I asked her what would happen if I decided not to give her a chance to talk. Would I then lose the client? She said that of course not. But I found that difficult to believe, and it was looking just like too much of a bribe. But I let her know that I could not take the interview with the client, but that I would talk to her. The reason why was that I did not want her to be connected to my life in any way, even if it was through a client. So, I just let the client know that unfortunately I changed my mind and he left. I was very disappointed about it, to be honest. Mainly because I had already bragged to Kylie, who had done her best to prepare me for the interview, but I refused to be bought with a bribe. Indy cannot just bribe me and regain the respect that she lost so much time ago. That is simply just not how it works. So, anyways, she apologized and she said that she was under a lot of stress and might have taken advice from the wrong people. I assumed that she meant Jenna when she meant the wrong people. A tiny part of my heart felt pity for her, as I know what it's like to change your character when Jenna wants something from you. She told me that she had been shallow, disrespectful. She didn't care about what people thought about her if it meant that she had to lose me as family. She hinted that married life was not going as perfectly as she hoped for, and she really needed me. That small part of me that will always protect my baby sister, it was activated. She told me that since she moved a bit further to stay in her in-laws' house, she felt as if the whole family ganged up on her sometimes. She said the main problem was her mother-in-law, no doubt, who thought that she could make decisions about her and her husband's life. When she said that, well, I did empathize with her a bit. But when she jumped to get married, I remembered asking her if she was sure that she wanted to stay in his family home. I'm not a marriage expert by any stretch, but I do have friends who are married who will tell you that staying with your in-laws has its own challenges. She told me that she felt alone. She could not tell her friends what was happening because they could use that against her as gossip. I felt sorry for her, but I told her that despite all that she's going through, she not only hurt my girl's feelings, but she also broke my shaker. And that thing made me seem crazy for asking for the money. And then, I kid you not, she looked through her wallet and gave me money that was 3 times worth the shaker. I told her I was only going to accept the money, but I was unsure about whether I could forgive her. At this moment, she looked very sad and like a shadow of herself, as she said that at least she was happy that she managed to pay me back. She said that she hoped I would forgive her soon because she did have something to tell me about that she could only tell me when we were on good terms. I sure hope that whatever it is that she wants to tell me is a good thing and not yet another surprise. I went home and told Kylie everything because we don't keep secrets. Kylie has a very genuinely good heart, almost to a fault, but Kylie can also harden her heart when something continues to show disrespect to her. She said that even though she is my sister, it's best to not be in contact with her, and she apologized today, but what if she keeps on doing it? Kylie had tears in her eyes when she said that she has tried to be strong. She doesn't want to cause a rift between me and Andy. But what my sister did reminds her of how she was treated when she came back home from her deployment. She was dealing with the loss of her brother and her limbs, and some people suddenly just kept their distance. She heard what people said about her. They said that she could never find love, and that it was a mistake for her to follow her brother. But then she met me, and I've always made her feel whole, like she can do anything in this world. She said that she had almost forgotten about her condition until Jenna and my sister brought it up. She told me that if I want, I can forgive my sister and move on with life, but that she cannot continue to entertain her presence because, well, she reminds me of a time in her life that was not the happiest. I don't know what to do now. I don't. Do you think that Indy made a mistake and deserves to be forgiven? Please let me know in the comments down below. Update number 1, titled, I'm still not sure whether to forgive her, but I've just discovered something strange. Guys, my name's Mr. Reddito. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're enjoying part 2 today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss a future update, and let's see what's going on in part 1. So, my mom called me the other day and said that she needed help. We did not discuss all the drama that's been going on for the past few months. I just helped my mother get some things out the garage because she wants to do garage sales for a church fundraiser. My father was home, we shared a beer, and avoided the topic in general. They asked about Kylie, work, the weather, etc., and it was just plain awkward. Then my mother asked if I wanted some of the empty containers. They just needed a wash, but she said that since Kylie and I are a young couple, we should have our own furniture. She also gave us cups, plates, and sheets. Kylie called her and thanked her later, and they both, felt good, because at least her parents were talking to us now. Kylie and I helped each other with the wash stuff. Neither of us is very homey. Our apartment looks like a warehouse, so having new stuff was very exciting. As I was sorting through the sheets, I came across a notebook that made me realize that maybe everything was not what it seemed. It belonged to my sister, and mainly had grocery lists, etc. But in the middle, there was a list of people titled bridesmaids. Jenna and some of the usual suspects were there, but Kylie was also included. I checked the date, and it was months before her wedding, so I showed Kylie, who was also puzzled but said that we did not have to worry about it because the damage has already been done. But it's been on my mind for ages, because if my sister intended for Kylie to be a bridesmaid when she was just starting her wedding preparation, then how did she change her mind during it? All these excuses that she keeps on making about stress, the venue, etc., they're obviously lies. Was it Jenna that made her change her mind? It has, her writing all over it, but that would be way too easy. I should have let it go, but now that I know that my Kylie was invited to the wedding, but seriously didn't make the final cut, I'm curious and I need to know why. I texted my mother a picture of the list. My mother told me that it was she who made the list, not my sister. I asked why she was writing in my sister's notebook then, but she just beat around the bush and wanted to change that topic really quickly. Now you see why I still can't forgive her. It's because she doesn't want to tell me the truth and has been giving me the runaround since before her wedding. I asked Kylie to be honest with me about whether something might have happened between them, and because of that my sister decided to uninvite her, but Kylie knows nothing at all. Update number 2. I found out the truth, and it's disgusting. I was right. I was right in believing that there was something more to the wedding fiasco. What I found out has not cleared anyone's name. It's only increased the number of people on the list of personnel who I never want to talk to ever again. Remember that client I turned down? Well, get this. He contacted me and told me that he really wanted to do business with our company because we were the best in town. I decided to give him a chance because I've been thinking about that deal and whatnot and what good it could do for us for a while. It was a second type chance sort of deal, which I did not tell Kylie about. The reason I didn't tell her is that she's a bit stressed at work, and I thought that if I worked with them while Kylie didn't know, it would not hurt her. Also, there's something big I'm planning for her in the future. You guys are the only people who know of this plan of mine, and I am not going to jinx it by explaining further, but I am more than sure that you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So, I nailed the presentation and we signed the client. This was when I found out, that he was a distant cousin of my sister's husband. As a way to celebrate, I organized a dinner for all of us, with my company and his. It was just a dinner to relax, unwind, and kick back. None of us brought partners, it was just a night to network, etc. Well, one thing that I did not know was that my client Alastair talks a lot when he's drunk. And since we're kind of family, we talked about family. And he told me about how he was related to Ralph. In the beginning, he had a respectful tone when he spoke about Ralph, but he kept on leaving hints that he just didn't like old Ralphie. Maybe it was just my luck, but he told me that Ralph was not the nicest person, and that he was also a pretender. He said that he was supposed to be running a division of the family company. It was between him and Ralph, but then days before the decision was made, Alastair's well-kept secrets were revealed, and he lost the positioning to Ralph completely. He then went and started his own business. Well, I listened and gathered all this information, wishing that someone had told my sister about all this before she chose to marry this jerk. Alastair said that Ralph was a control freak, and that was why so many of his exes left him. But he added, "But do not go asking them what happened because he might have them sign NDAs." Now, what could be so bad about a person that he can make people sign NDAs? I did not find out about that night, but another night. Alastair and I became best friends after that dinner. He trusted me, gave me advice, and I did the best work that I could for him. We went out for work, dinner, drinks a few times, and then he said if Kylie could join us, including his wife for dinner, so I took Kylie with me for their place, and when people ask me about Kylie, I show them the home screen of my phone, which has her face. The first thing I tell them about her is she's extremely smart and loyal. So, Alastair and Kendra, his wife, already knew her through me. We had an amazing dinner, but halfway through, I saw that Kylie was a bit quiet and uninterested in the conversation. When I asked her, she told me that we were going to discuss it when we got back home. So, I asked Alastair and his wife if, well, they said anything, thinking that maybe my new friend was not such a good person as I thought him to be. But Kylie said that they were very kind and welcoming to her. In fact, Kendra had invited her for tea. She said that it was something big, a truth that Kendra confessed to her. I was more than invested in this quote truth, but was patient enough to finish up dinner, and then we would talk about it when we got back home. So, Kylie told me that when she met Kendra, they got to talking. Kendra said that she had been at the wedding but had heard some controversy regarding the brother not showing up. But since Kendra was on the groom's side, she got the front row seat. It was not my sister who decided not to invite my Kylie, it was Ralph. The reason is that Ralph is one of the biggest hypocrites that one could ever lay eyes on. He makes himself seem likable so that he can take advantage of people. However, he is very prejudiced. He does not like my girlfriend because of what she, quote, represents. What could she possibly represent? He thinks that people with disabilities should not get full rights, be able to get married, or even be out in public or drive a vehicle. He said that it would ruin the aesthetic of his wedding if people found out there was a person like that on his brother's side. So, he told my sister that it was either, well, she got a way to make sure that Kylie does not attend, or he wouldn't marry her at all. I thought that was the most crazy thing I've ever heard. Such an ultimatum over such a small thing. But Ralph was a very serious man about it. He thought that having her there would make people uncomfortable. He thought that Kylie was just not good enough to be part of the family, and that I embarrassed the family by even dating her. I was livid when I heard what Kendra told Kylie and immediately asked for Kendra's number, because I simply didn't believe it. So I called Kendra up, and we spoke for hours, and she told me that Ralph was indeed controlling, cared way too much about looks. His past girlfriends left because he wanted to control what they ate, how they dressed. If any of them had an imperfection, he would force them to get surgery to, quote, fix it. Ralph pretended to donate to charities by pledging, but when there was no one around, he was loud about his views, and how prejudiced he really was came out. Kendra told me that my sister had changed a lot since she started dating him. She said that she only met my sister a couple times. When she first met her, she was down to earth. But Ralph controlled her, making her demanding, shallow, and even vain. Kendra told me that my sister was only apologizing because even though no one knew the full story, people suspected that she was prejudiced, and she thought by making it up to me that she would also get people off her back. Kendra told me a lot, but I did not get why she would tell Kylie all that when she had just met her. Kendra told me that before she even met Kylie, she was told things about her by my sister. But what I said about her was very different. When she met her, she saw that she was a genuine person, that she wanted to keep as a friend. When Kylie told her that she did not get invited to the wedding and she still was not sure why, Kendra decided to tell her the truth. I believe Kendra and I have no reason at all to believe that she's lying, but what I have to do is confront him. I will not put my new friend under the bus, of course, but I want to look him in the eyes and have him tell me that he is the one who made my sister uninvite Kylie. I knew there was something amiss about him from the beginning. That comment he made should have been a complete red flag, but I was naive. So, does that mean that I've decided to forgive my sister? Hell no! Because she should have spoken up to me and told me. Instead, she's covering up for that man. Now it makes sense why some of her friends distanced themselves. They must have caught wind of what's going on, but the thing is that the whole family does not know how disgusting her husband actually is. If they were to find out, she would be ruined and lose the few allies that she had left in her house. I just have to say something, and then no one will want to be associated with her ever again. I don't believe that she was really sorry back then. I think she was trying to cover up so that her husband's truth doesn't come out. After all that I've done for her, I'm surprised that she would do this to me. Update number 4. I confronted both of them. Finding out what I did was shocking, and I wanted answers. All the things that my brother-in-law said were disgusting, and also pointed out that there was something seriously wrong with him that could become a problem with my sister later on. So I sent my sister a text and asked her to meet her and her husband. I told her that I needed to catch up with her, which wasn't really a lie. I went alone and left Kylie out of the loop. She knew where I was going, and I learned my lesson when she found out I was doing business with Alastair and kept it from her. This time she knew where I was going and who it was with. We met at a public space, and they pretended to be nice and were very interested in my relationship. It was almost like they were hoping that Kylie and I broke up. She has never done anything to them. She's been nothing but nice, but hey, sometimes people are just really crappy. So I told them that I knew that Ralph did not want my girlfriend to be at their wedding because of her disability. Ralph said that he had always been an inclusive person and I was lying. I told him to stop lying because I found out the truth from a reliable source. That was when my sister asked if it was noisy Kendra. She continued on to say that Kendra only said that stuff because her husband will never be the leader of the company. She called Kendra cheap and ugly. Then what she said was so unnecessary. She said that Kendra was so sour because she was fat, ugly, and barren. I've started to see my sister's ugly side more and more these days, and I'm starting to question if I even want her in my life. My parents can try to defend her or give her the benefit of the doubt, but she has become such a nasty person. Ralph interrupted and told me that if there was something that got him to where he is today, it had the correct image. He told me that he worked very hard to put his company name on the map. One of the things that helped was not to have any weak links. He told me that I had a lot of potential, but as long as Kylie is a part of my life, I will always have to look after her. I will have to sacrifice a lot of activities because they are not accessible to her. I will have people who are not comfortable interacting with her, so they will avoid me. He told me that for me to be a successful businessman, I need to have a wife who represents me. Even my ex Jenna, whose father has a lot of connections, would be so much better than the broken Kylie. He even said the word broken in such a nasty tone, and with no respect at all for whom he was referring. My sister just sat there with a blank expression on her face as if he did not just use a derogatory term to refer to my girlfriend, the woman that I see being my wife in my future. I asked my sister if this was what she believed, and she told me that it would be good for me to consider her husband's advice. She said that he does not mean it in a bad way. He's just trying to look out for me. What I've learned about my brother-in-law in the past 24 hours shows me that he is very poisonous, and he shifted my sister's mindset to be a very poisonous one. That conversation has also let me know that maybe I should expose him to more people. People who don't know the full story of what exactly happened at his wedding. They do not know that he's a hypocrite. He donates to charities that help people who are differently abled, yet he decides not to invite a woman to a wedding because of that. If people knew this truth about him, I wonder if they would still want to do business with him. Updates. I recorded what they were saying. Should I send it to my family members? Guys, I have a confession to make regarding my meeting with my brother-in-law and sister. When I went there, I was a bit worried about my sister, thinking that she was forced into all this, so when he left to go to the bathroom, I asked her if these were really her views and if he was not forcing her to say this. She told me that since she is married to him, she supports him in everything. His views are her views, and she will only do as he says. This is so unlike her. She used to be a very independent woman, and now she's reduced to whims. I'm fully against this. She should have had her own thoughts. These poisonous views of his will make sure that she does not have friends anymore. When I told her that, she told me that her husband tells the truth, and it's because of him that several fake people, including me, have been exposed to her life. She told me that she did not want trouble. She just wanted to let this go. She told me that if I decided to drop this and, quote, forgive her, there would be something for me as a reward. She let me know that her husband has much more power than I have ever thought, and it was going to benefit me a lot if I let the issue go, and showed that there's peace between us and no bad blood. From what I could tell, I knew that she was trying to bribe me. Then it meant I must have been a serious threat to him. He was making it seem like I had no influence in his life, and I should befriend him. Now I see that I've had more cards to play here than I thought. I can ruin his reputation badly, that he'll not even want to recover. I recorded it all, the interaction with him, then I went home and cropped it. It was 20 minutes plus. I made a physical copy as well as a digital one, which I put up in the cloud. Now I have many options about how to go about this. I could send this to my family, thus alienating them from him. I could send this to the business partners, of which I'm sure many will not agree with his standpoint of views. Or I could send it to a newspaper. I'm sure there's someone who's dying to write an expose about them. I've told Kylie about this, and she says that it's my call. She will support me in what I decide to do. Normally, she doesn't condone revenge, but she says that this man needs to be brought down a peg or two. Unfortunately for her, this audio exposes my sister as well. Halfway through the meeting, I tried to give her a chance. I feared that if I implicated her in this, she would be going down for stuff, well, that she was forced to do. Well, I should have known better than try to save her butt. As the saying goes, it's not my circus and it's not my clowns. Tomorrow, several people will receive these recordings. This will shatter the charming image that he's tried to put on himself and show people his true self once and for all. Not only that, but my sister will be exposed for sharing his views as well. So to answer my dilemma a while ago, I do not forgive my sister. She could have been done something else, or one when she could have been refused to marry him. Does she not know that he is just a womanizer and that he's turned her into something else? I hope that once our family finds out, they talk some sense into her. Her views are not okay, especially since we have family members with disabilities. Though not visible, that would be hurt if they knew that she would be excluded someone because of that. So, I have time for all of the messages, emails, etc. to arrive exactly at 7 a.m. sharp. It'll be the first thing most people see when they wake up in the morning, and yes, I know it may very well burn Ralph's world down to the ground. I don't care. He made his bed. He's gonna have to lie in it. I've been hopeless before when it comes to protecting Kylie, but this time, I want people to know that no one will hurt Kylie and get away with it. I guess now, I just wait for it all to begin. Well, it turns out that Ralph was the bad guy all along. However, it did not really come to an end with this story. I checked OP's account over and over, and there's no update yet. This update was very fresh, so I'm going to give OP a week or so and see if another update comes out. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a future update. But let me tell you right now, I did not expect Ralph to be so dirty. Let me know your thoughts about this part 2, and if you want to watch part 1 and you haven't done it yet, you can check it out in the description below. Thank you guys for joining me on today's story, and have a fantastic day. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you click that now. I'll see you guys later.